If you haven't already watched parts 1 and 2, please make sure you do that first. I'm using my phone for something else and am too lazy to switch it off to record this part. I apologize for absolutely nothing.
On April 7th, 2010, they released Serenade, a stirring epic of emotions, where Olin's girlfriend can't hang out tonight because she's going to a Josh Groban show.
You know what, I bet he's just a little sad because his girlfriend can't hang out tonight because she's going to a Josh Groban show.
I'm just a little sad because my girlfriend can't hang out tonight because she's going to a Josh Groban show.
Why don't I show you what I like to do whenever Olin's girlfriend can't hang out with him tonight because she's going to a Josh Groban show? I sing a little ditty.
What?
I sing a golden oldie little ditty. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel.
Is that James Blunt?
Of that I'm sure.
It was a humble little piece of nothing that was built upon a beautiful message that I think we can all get behind. But the delivery of this message was indeed bittersweet, for this was the final official release on the BalloonShop channel. Life just started to get in the way of this crazy little hobby of theirs. People started getting jobs, moving away. That's the thing about time. It can be a cruel mistress. It's supposed to be Brando. He doesn't really have much to do with this video, though. What happened after was a long, branching journey, made bearable by the fact that even though BalloonShop as we knew it was a thing of the past, all three principal dudes behind it continued to make stuff. I've actually put a lot of thought into how and in what order I should talk about this next part, so I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about the most interesting piece of the puzzle first. Motorcycles, airplanes, good old boys racing up and down the 35-mile-an-hour road because the police will never catch us. Wouldn't you take advantage of these amenities we have as suburban citizens? Wouldn't you? To live on the edge, getting that thrill that you won't otherwise get because you've been segregated to a part of society that will not give you your usual burst of adrenaline and endorphins that other more... Whoa. I do not know what this character is. Josh went on to do graphic design whilst managing his own channel, continuing the same manic humor and physical commitment he brought to his videos with Olin and Thomas. Speaking of which, Thomas even showed up for a few of Josh's videos, allowing the chemistry the two had on BalloonShop to shine through just a few more times. Other projects included some vlogs, a short film based on The Legend of Zelda, which, even if it ended up being kinda light on story or thematic content, did have some pretty sweet visual effects for its budget. I enjoyed it for what it was. You're probably wondering why I haven't shown any of this, aren't you? Well, the footage right here is all that currently remains of Josh's post-shop YouTube antics.
Should have opened these prior to this idea. These are harder to open than I remember.
A few years back, all the videos on the channel vanished, likely set to private, and communication between Josh and the other members of BalloonShop, at least on a public level, has pretty much been non-existent ever since. Now, to an outside observer, this seems like a pretty odd thing to happen. How could someone with such a reasonable following and such a clear comedic talent take all that hard work and just go quiet on everything? To cut to the chase and forego any further manipulative suspense building on my part, Josh Pursley is no longer Josh Pursley, but rather Joss Pursley. Cool. Totally fine by me. Now, I don't know what Joss is short for, probably Jocelyn, or maybe Jossabelle, or Joss Merelda. Either way, it's a pretty easy name to swap out for what I had already established in my head for years, especially compared to other name changes I've seen throughout my life, so I'm at least grateful that it's not that hard of a change to make in my head, so good choice. Good choice of name. This is really tricky to talk about. Not because the entertainer I once knew has 180'd into any kind of recluse. Far from it, actually. Joss is fairly active on social media, laughing along with old references thrown her way from fans, and even demonstrates she's still got that iconic sense of humor. I happen to follow her on Twitter, and even though she doesn't post that often, when she does, it's like Meep Light, or Went Extra Pale. Beer references. I'm a grown-up. The Black Panther movie was impressive, but with today's technology, I'm clamoring for a modern reboot of Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. All pregnancy announcements should be handwritten on used, greasy, wet Chick-fil-A chicken boxes. New poll finds that millennials favor polls over things that are not polls, by wide margin. I tried out for the NFL, but was immediately cut for lack of scrimmage skills, pigskin skills, gridiron skills, and dreadlock skills. Work hard, play hard. That is something I say and live by when it comes to the subjects of working and playing. She's also still got her design portfolio, and just skimming through it, she's done some really stellar work, and apparently has worked with some pretty big clientele. Yeah, so I only wanted to go down this rabbit hole because with all this in mind, it makes a little more sense as to why she would want to remove all of her old videos. Now I'm sure that a lot of you Wayback Machine nerds will probably find some old mirrors of some of her videos when she was still Josh, and I can confirm, yeah, they're out there. But to show them right now, I think would be a little weird. Just for me personally, just given the reasons as to why she did make them private in the first place. While I can't necessarily prove that she wants to distance herself from who she was and all the things that came with that, of course, if that's the case, that's totally fine by me, like whatever. I can at the very least confirm from some convos she's had on her public pages that she's received her fair share of hate and harassment and threats. And that sucks. Makes me sick. I'm like legitimately unsure how qualified I am to talk about any of this just because she's entitled to whatever level of privacy she currently wants at this point. Sure, you could argue it's potentially problematic for me to magnify this aspect of her social presence, and yes, you could argue that it is a bit creepy that I stalked her public accounts for research purposes. My point is, Joss, if by some cosmic miracle you decide to watch any of this, whatever reason you might have had for stopping communication with Olin and Thomas, whatever reasons you might have had for setting your videos to private and just more or less going dark on certain aspects of your creative career, it's none of my business. It's nobody's business but yours, and I respect that. Having said that, in regards to getting hate and harassment based solely on who you are and how you choose to live your life, I implore you not to let that keep you from doing whatever it is you want to do with your life, your career, or any other aspect of living. Now, again, I'm not any kind of authority on how to deal with toxic behavior like this. I obviously have never been through anything quite like that. And who knows, maybe you're just legitimately uninterested in getting back into something that's that public. And, you know, that's fine too. Like, you do you. But that said, if you ever decide to come back to YouTube, to take the world by storm with that Jay Pursley magic, just know that there are people who are going to have your back. You're legitimately good at everything you do, and whatever projects you want to take on are within your right as a creator, as a legend of old YouTube comedy, but most importantly, as a human being. So, yeah. Do with that what you will. Let's move on. Okay, late addition to the video. I'm gonna maybe string this into what I come up with tonight. This whole endeavor's just been taking a while, which is, you know, that's on me for recording so much gosh dang footage. But I'm like looking for material, and what do I stumble upon but the first video she's put on, like, anywhere. It went up like October 21st, and I missed it? How the flippin' H did I miss this? But that doesn't matter. What matters is that it's frickin' just watch.
Guys, I know I haven't made a video in a really, really long time. It's been a really long time, but that's because I haven't had really anything that I need to share with you guys. But that changes today. I've just discovered a show on TV. It's on NBC, and it's called Young Sheldon. This show is a rip roar of laughter at every turn. It's based on another show on NBC called Adult Sheldon. The Big Bang story inspired.
happy. Gore Thomas. What a fever dream. Oh, how I love it. You want exactly 19 seconds of Thomas Gore riding around on a tractor on God knows where? It's there. You got it. You got it, Chief. Firing guns in the woods for giggles, I guess. Well, there you go. There you have it. It's there. Firing a gun in the woods before peeling off into the countryside on a tractor. You bet your butt it's here, man. Okay, in all seriousness, there's not too much on this channel, but each and every upload is an absolute gift to the universe, adding another layer of mystique to one of the most mythical figures to ever grace my subscriptions. He still has a knack for creating endearingly uncomfortable characters, like Lionel Pritchard, the crotchety one-man folk band, the master of all things business, Dean Maddox, and my personal favorite, George Lanes, owner of Zane's Lanes.
Saturday night is Cosmic Bowling night with a special guest DJ Hype playing the finest in dance and electronica. Sunday we are closed for rest. What are people saying about Zane's Lanes? I love going to Zane's Lanes with my family on Saturday nights for the fun and the excitement it provides. Zane's Lanes, I have found, is a great place for kids, specifically my children, the Zanes. Lanes is clean and safe in the usual sense, and also because I have found that other offers safe storage behind the counter for valuables like synthetic gemstones.
I'll never understand how he's able to play these weirdos with so much oomph and for such long spurts of time. It was a huge part of his BalloonShop roles, and I'm glad it's carried over to his other stuff. With this particular channel, he occasionally had someone else film with what appears to be a DSLR, allowing him to capture these bizarre moments in a way that's way too close to reality.
Well, once I get the ventures in the stages, I'm gonna help you. Okay. Well, I
Oh, schwack!
It's art. It's art. Plain and simple. Along with his tried and true portraits of insanity are a series of stripped down vlogs. His earliest videos filmed in beautiful vertiscope vision.
Hello, I am Thomas. This is the second of my video blogs. With the assistance of editing software, I could have easily chopped off the first few seconds of this video, which would have left you wondering, who on earth is beneath that blanket? Is it a person? If so, is it Thomas? If so, who on earth placed this terrible blanket over top of him?
These give us a more personal look at his sense of humor, abstaining from cuts and other tricks that might obscure just how much of an in-the-moment player he can really be.
Dear Netflix, your more like G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra function is clearly broken, as it recommended per my interest in G.I. Joe the 2008 film Eagle Eye, starring Rosario Dawson. I have seen both films, and trust me when I say they are completely different.
This format would later evolve into a short-lived quest where Thomas returns to making videos in an effort to save YouTube from itself.
It is not in a very good place. I left it in a good place, and it's not there any longer. So I'm back.
Of course, he eventually realizes, upon watching videos in the genre of unboxing, that YouTube in all actuality does not require saving. So he makes one of his own.
What do we have here? Very cool. We got it stuffed really nice with really cool packaging stuff here. Throw it off to the side, and let's see what we got here.
He would continue with these vlogs, eventually adopting a day-in-the-life style that starts off simply and straightforwardly enough. And then the rest of the video happens.
I'm going to take you guys with me, and just for a nice walk around the city, and let's get going.
Neistat's got nothing. Bingham's got nothing. Stephen Reed ain't got nothing. Y'all playing hopscotch and picking your nose. Y'all eating PB&Js with the crust cut off. Y'all learning to walk and drop a deuce in the sack while my Broseph Thomas is changing the game. Brosephine changing the laws of physics. Broseph Cotton and yeah, son Wells. He's both. I don't know what happened. I just know that, it's probably scary. So like I said, Thomas's channel is pretty spry, and even if every notification I get is a true reminder of just how amazing life can be, his uploads are few and far in between. So what does he do with the rest of his time? Is this all he does? Fortunately, no. Thomas has actually been pretty busy, no doubt getting some kind of creative fix with an old friend.
What? What was that? Time travel.
Olin's growth over the past 7 or so years has been one of the most inspirational things for me as a creator, artist, doo-doo with a camera, whatever you want to call me. His output is funny, it's professional, and surprisingly diverse. After BalloonShop ended, he continued to make sketch comedy, incorporating a new slew of people in his life, and at least for a chunk of the beginning, a familiar face.
There are no mirrors!
Scooby, don't be playing with me.
There's a mirror in my bedroom, which you're impeding me from getting to.
Scooby, don't be playing dumb with me. Everybody knows that every trick involves a very elaborate set of mirrors.
Hey there, Giblet Muffins.
These sketches, though similar to the old team's output by Blood, is definitely its own breed of humor and storytelling, told at a more wide-eyed, childlike slant, at least more so than before.
Where's your partner?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I cannot find the guy. I've been looking for him for 4 years now.
Where is Lieutenant Waldo?
I don't know where Waldo is.
Forensics is here.
Here's Spider-Man.
Over time, the production value of these pieces went up substantially, incorporating better equipment, costumes, and effects work. And Starscream. Praise be to Starscream. Olin's continued sketch work would eventually land him a deal with Fandango to produce his own web series, Admit One, starring himself, a few of his newer pals, and, to the joy of all of us upon its debut, Thomas.
Oh, get out of there ASAP!
I can't!
Can you will!
Not without the tree!
Leave the tree!
It's not like we can outrun this bear!
There is no defeating a hungry bear, Olin.
Okay, there are circumstances in which a bear can be defeated!
If you want to get mauled by a hungry bear, that's your prerogative. I don't want that for me. All I want is to see The Hobbit, the desolation of Smaug. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
As a show, Admit One is good, clean fun. More fun than I remember, actually. It's competently made, creatively centered around a different movie each episode, and told in a more linear way than I was initially used to from these guys. And Nolan's growing pool of actor pals would continue to prove their worth as they cropped up throughout the series.
We're on our way to see the Hunger Games!
Hunger Games? Because I have a bow!
The freaking bow!
And Katniss has a bow! You know, I almost read that book.
Really?
Yeah, I was that close.
That's freaking close.
Are you threatening me with kicks?
Admit One ran for 21 episodes, and is something that I would highly recommend to fans of BalloonShop and movies in general. If you were to watch it from beginning to end, it's a pretty solid way to kill an hour.
By golly, it's Admit One!
So on top of this carryover of short-form comedy, there's an on-and-off series of car chats called Rollin' with Olin, an occasional vlog or mini-doc that touches on various business projects, like the Soda Parlor, which is a dedicated space for ice cream floats, merch, and fan appreciation events. And best of all, stories.
What's going on? Nothing? Good, because I got a story. And here we go.
For me personally, these simple, stripped-down little videos are the centerpiece of the channel, allowing Olin to share memories in a way that takes a form of digital stand-up. Even though he's you know, he's technically not even standing up, he's sitting down, so I guess if you were to call it anything, it'd be called a sit down. Be humble.
I could hear through this paper-thin wall. When he had parties, when he was watching Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, when he was... I heard one time he had the hiccups. I could hear him have the hiccups. I also could hear when, he would have relations. With, you know, any of that crap sounded like. Two diseased rhinos hopping on a pogo stick.
With these stories, Olin reached new heights in terms of viewership. While views are by no means a good way to measure quality or effort, they do at the very least clue us in when stuff connects with the YouTube public. And many of these videos struck such a chord that people come back to hear them time and time again. Ghost in the Stalls, The Snack Thief, Echoes Through the Wall, Midnight Claw, The Comeback Kid, aptly named classics that could easily be repurposed into a proper stage act. In fact, they have been. Little Big O's done several live shows in the past couple years. He's been all over the country to meet fans and test out new material. What'd I do to make one of those shows?
I just start unloading on him, right? Just all my deepest confessions. Sit! I did things. I'm not worthy of gifts this year. And I say, I've been eating the Kraft Singles out of the fridge. I also been stealing quarters out of my dad's coin jar in his office. One time I spit in his underwear because I thought it would be funny. My dad's like, oh, okay, stop it.
Well, till then, the videos as they are, those'll do it. Currently, he manages to pump a new one out every couple of months or so while he's working on something else. Something else. May 10th, 2010, Olin releases the first of 3 short cartoons under the title Gary Space, chronicling an aloof spaceman as he explores an uncharted planet.
It seems as if fate, my arch nemesis and rival, has once again threw me a curveball.
He befriends a little alien thing and kills some guys.
Do you need any assistance?
He startled me.
That's the gist, anyway. The 3rd episode dropped in October that same year, and ended up being the last piece of Gary Space-related content in Olin's catalog. That is, until...
Also Final Space, which was previously known as Gary Space. Anybody knows my channel, and has been there long enough, knows that I did a cartoon, 3 episodes, back in like 2010.
It's like 6:40 in the AM, and they sent me the first animated draft of Final Space, so I'm gonna watch it. And I don't know, we'll see.
Gary, the cookies will be done in 4 minutes.
Oh, fantastic. I love cookies.
With a team of extremely talented artists and producers, Olin whipped up a proof of concept for a comedic space opera, to be pitched at major studios throughout the entertainment industry, and reportedly getting great acclaim and excitement almost universally from executives. Eventually, the bid went to TBS, who arranged for veteran writer-producer David Sachs to be showrunner, while an obscure little personality by the name of Conan O'Brien was signed on as an executive producer and voice actor. Now, the Final Space pilot's been on Olin's channel for a little over a year now, and it's good stuff. It's definitely worth checking out. But if the previews for this upcoming full series are an indication of anything, this has the potential to be the next great adult cartoon. The visuals are interesting, the setting looks packed full of imagination, and the cast... Look at this cast! Final Space is one of my most anticipated things coming out in 2018, and it'll be great to keep up with on a regular basis once it starts rolling out. Regardless of how the show turns out though, I can say one thing with 100% certainty. This show's very existence should be considered a victory for anyone who wants to live a life of purpose in the arts or any kind of storytelling, because it's a real underdog story for any weirdo who's ever wanted to connect with people using a camcorder, a laptop, and whatever skills they manage to teach themselves along the way. And all of it can be traced back to a YouTube channel where a couple of guys got together with the shared mission of making people laugh. I'll never stop enjoying BalloonShop's videos, even if it can get a little hard to watch considering how abruptly it ended and the ambiguity of the relationship that's currently held between the various members. At the very least, even if they never got back together to make a proper sketch, I just wouldn't mind having some closure. Just seeing them have a reunion of some kind and catch up and reflect on the accomplishments they made back in the day. You know, just do a little sit down, a little knock around update. If they just sat on a car and talked for 20 minutes, I would poop my britches. Still, as far as making uploads again for the channel is concerned, I think Mr. Rogers put it best in one of the many update statuses he made for Facebook and Tumblr, just to give people a nugget of an understanding of why it was that it stopped. Okay, I just realized I totally typed Mr. Rogers with the sole intention of quoting Olin here, but I just cracked up like a freaking madman because there's only one Mr. Rogers. So, in the spirit of Mr. Rogers, I'm going to read this quote as Mr. Rogers. It's not too late to click out of the video. I mean, there's not much left, but I wouldn't blame you if you did. I do think about doing BalloonShop again, but what stops me, personally, is the knowledge it will never be the same. We're different people now. I would rather it end on a high note than start it up and have an Indiana Jones Crystal Skull era, where it's subpar. And thank you, Mr. Rogers. All seriousness, I couldn't agree more with that. After all, this isn't anything new. Many of history's most cherished and revered groups ended up breaking up eventually. Sometimes that's just the way things go. But regardless, the Beatles will always have Sgt. Pepper and Yellow Submarine, Pink Floyd will always have The Wall and Dark Side of the Moon, Monty Python will always have The Flying Circus and The Holy Grail. BalloonShop will always have... BalloonShop.
Welcome back, Olin.
Oh, hey.
Hey, welcome back to the BalloonShop. How was your stay?
It was great.
Welcome back to BalloonShop, Thomas. How was your stay? Great. Welcome back, Olin.
Hey.
It'd be nice if someone welcomed me back. How are you, Josh? Hey. Hey. What about me?
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Thank you. To...
Hey. BalloonShop?
Oh, hey, I'm here.
He hasn't even said anything.
I looked at him.
In fact, the guy is crying.
I'm looking at him.
And you jumped a chump.
He's acting like a chump.
You jumped a chump in like 3 seconds.
I just got this couch.
I get it.
This is the first time I've been able to sit